Wow. Hey, so we just got out of watching Superman in theaters. The day's finally here. But yes, before we jump in, I'm Matthew.
I'm Jemmy.
And I'm Joshua.
Yes. And what did we think of this movie, guys? How are you guys feeling?
There's so much to feel, but it's all good things. Completely just blown away. James Gunn did not disappoint, to say the least. For sure.
It was extremely fun, refreshing. Josh, you used that word coming out of the theater, refreshing. Elaborate on that.
Refreshing, yes. Because honestly, you say, what did we think? It's more a question of how did you feel? And coming out of this theater, I felt very just joyous, and I enjoyed the time seeing it with my family, being able to look to the sides and enjoy it with them, but also to hear the laughter around us, the environment of the space. It was truly beautiful to be able to really feel the wondrous, I would say, gift that this movie is, of just the experience itself. And I loved it. I think it was so much fun.
It's a lot of fun. If you really like comedy, like James Gunn's comedy and the way that he tells stories, he brings that in his own unique way. It was funny. I heard a funny conversation in the restroom coming out of this movie of these two guys talking about the movie, and I just love to see that. I love to see movies that are getting people talking.
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom. Yeah. So it's just funny, man. I love it. And so seeing people clap at the end of the movie. Yeah. Superman means so much to so many people. And I was saying,
they were wearing their capes and their t-shirts. It was such a great thrill. Yeah.
He's got a Clark Kent situation on purpose. But yeah, it's just Superman means so much to so many people, and he's a character that we've seen many times now, Christopher Reeve, and then in TV shows, and then Henry Cavill more recently, and then now David Cornsweet, which, I'm just gonna say it, he's fantastic as Superman. He's bringing an energy we've never seen before, although capturing that essence that we love of Christopher Reeve and things like that. So they brought new elements to these characters that we've seen on screen, at least. We know that there's a massive comic book world, and there's different iterations of these characters that inspired this movie. And so I'm sure a lot of comic book fans kind of knew maybe where they pulled some inspiration from. But for us, as film viewers, as movie goers, this is a new experience for Superman. It's something completely new. I've never experienced so much laughter in a Superman movie. I think that's a beautiful thing. A lot of joy. Yeah.
Very emotional connections too. When it comes to the scale of it all, it can be easily you can feel easily emotionally just disconnected. But they did such a wonderful way of just also keeping it grounded, despite how super it is, pun very much intended, which I absolutely loved. I found myself very, very emotionally connected with the character of Superman, all the characters in this movie, and it takes you on this wonderful emotional roller coaster ride that just leaves you feeling, like Josh said, just full of joy, full of hope at the end of it. And it's truly worth the ride. I already want to go on again.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And before we send it to the parents, let them share their thoughts. Of course, this is still going to say spoiler free.
Yes.
Out of respect for the experience. We're excited. We're excited for the future of what they have in store, the way they're setting things up. Josh, I wanted to ask before we switch it over, what did you think about the music? With such an iconic score, Yeah.
Well, honestly, I think it's something that's, a given, truly. All of us know John Williams, in the original score of Superman, created a theme that when you hear it, you think of the cape, you think of the sun and Superman, and it just happens. It pulls a heartstring that's there that we don't know it's there, and it just happens. So the fact that this composer, I know you. Your name is there. It's just in text. It'll be at the bottom of this screen. Fantastic job. He definitely was able to fuse the element of John Williams' original theme with Hans Zimmer's Man of Steel, while also playing the main theme. I know Hans Zimmer got a little creative with the little nuances and the drums. He really emphasized what was important to that franchise, the Man of Steel, Henry Cavill, that what's the guy? The name Snyder, Mr. Snyder, Zack Snyder. Great movies. It was truly innovative. It was also simple. I think simplicity is key here. It was placed in good moments, and it did feel very, you had said it earlier, we were talking about how it felt almost like an animated show in the way that it's simple, like a kid's, like, it wouldn't be hard to grasp for like a little one, if that makes sense. But then there's jokes that older people would understand. So that simplicity was everything, and the music definitely mirrored that for sure.
It's fun for everybody, you know. This is universal themes, just so much great stuff here. So we'll pass it over to the parents, let them share their thoughts, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
Hey, everybody. Wow.
Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Superman. No, no, my name is Jose.
I'm Jenny.
And we are so excited about this movie. Joyous, it was a good way the kids summed it up.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling after this movie?
I was nervous coming into this movie. I knew there was a lot of special effects and CGI and all these different things that sometimes take me out of the movie. And it was really amazing to leave this film and realize that it did not take me out of the story at all. I feel like a lot of these characters are like out of this, like a very animated, very eccentric, but the way that they played it and the way that the world was created and these bonds between characters and the story made it so real and believable that even if they were outrageous, they were still, there was a lot of heart, there was a lot of connection. James Gunn took his time. There was not one moment where I felt like they were rushing through anything. Like, I didn't feel like anything or any character, any moment, any storyline, anything was rushed. The beginning, it was a little summarized. We don't want to spoil, but I think it laid it out beautifully and started the story in a beautiful way. It was very unique to any other Superman I've seen. Mm-hmm. There was things in this movie that the other ones do not have, so I appreciated that. I think the story was amazing. I think anything that was kind of goofy or like out of this world was appropriate and it will fit in perfectly. And none of the CGI was too much, where I was like, okay, that's enough, kind of let's move on. It was the perfect amount of like spice of each little thing. Like, it was just perfection. Yeah. I can't say anything else. I mean, there's nothing negative. I usually have negatives to say about these kinds of movies, but I don't have one. It was just beautifully done.
Yeah.
And like the kid said, animals. I think you add a cute, sidekick, pet, and other animals, and it's awesome. Anyway, I'll let you go because I know you have a lot to say.
No, you said a lot of the things that I really echo. I mean, this movie is truly, it felt right now, first viewing, it feels quite flawless. I really can't find anything I didn't like about it. It was very unpredictable and it was very sincere. I could not guess what was going to happen next. And there is some outrageous things. Some of it felt so out of this world. It felt like an animated series, but it was live action and it was so jam-packed with so much sincere moments, exchanges between characters that were heartfelt and honest and vulnerable. My goodness, go see this film ideally in IMAX. I did feel like the version we saw was cropped. There were some shots that I felt I could feel the screen was just being contained. The visual of what we're meant to experience. I want to go back and see this as true and as close to IMAX as I possibly can, because there were some shots that would take your breath away. And the movement, so much of the way of the direction of this movie is just so impressive. But I'll tell you what, above all, it's the performances of every single person in the cast. I didn't expect to be as blown away as I was with the dynamics between I would say the second tier characters, the supporting cast, where they were so invested in, for example, if there's an antagonist in Lex Luthor, his whole team really believed in his cause. It was super
annoying.
Very annoying, because it was authentically connected to what everyone was after. So you get this giant spectacle, right? It's Superman, and so Lois Lane and Clark, you get that and then some. The actors in this, the performances are so fresh, so new. They felt, yes, there was a little homage moment, but it was so them. It was them. It was who they are as these characters, and it just enriches my soul. It filled me with joy. I felt like a little kid, and I teared up a couple times. There were some really powerful monologues. Look, if you're anything like me and tearjerker, if you're a Superman fan, I was able to to wipe tears because I was moved to tears in some of these very sincere moments. So definitely go see it. Bring the family. There's language. So if your little kids are coming, maybe unless it's language you've used and they've heard you say it, and maybe you're just like, hey, look, you see, daddy and mommy.
There are some scary moments and some really visually frightening things I think kids might not do well with, like little ones. One thing I did notice that I did not like about other movies that I've seen where there's so much destruction, and it just they glorify the destruction of buildings and cars, and it's like this whole like CGI party and special effects.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie felt like that was the canvas to a much bigger and more beautiful storyline.
Yeah.
It wasn't at the forefront. It was like it was happening in the background, and it was a lot, but it wasn't the primary focus. It didn't take away from the story and what was happening, and I really appreciated that.
And adding to the sincere thing, this is not a big spoiler, but some of the characters address that. They address the damage that all of this fighting is doing. So it's sincere, and it just works, my friends. It works. Yeah. So go see this as soon as you can, as soon as you're able. Enjoy it. We were blessed with a theater full of people, and so the applause at the end was amazing, and just the whole of the experience, seeing people wear their Superman shirts, their capes, it was quite awesome. And there was a crypto stuffed animal on the way out. My daughter almost made me get it because it's awesome, but we didn't get it.
Because we have a dog that looks like
We do have a dog. We do have a crypto at home.
All right, so those were our out-of-theater thoughts for Superman. Definitely, like my dad said, go watch this movie in theaters with your family, with your friends. Go see it for yourself. See how you feel coming out of this movie, how it impacts you, what you like, maybe the things that you would have preferred not to be in the movie, just all of it. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Definitely meet us in the comments. Maybe some things about Superman and this movie, comic book-wise, that are good to know, good inspiration, maybe little Easter eggs about the future that are exciting. We definitely caught some things, but we don't want to obviously go into spoiler territory. So that's that, guys. This movie just continues to inspire us and is filling us up with a lot of hope, and it's quite a timely movie and just a huge gift to watch this together as a family. So you guys go out there, spread your light, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a MaJeliv day. Bye.